Hi and welcome to the latest edition of the MUTV group chat. We've got our usual panel with us today. A big welcome to Ben Thornley, David May, Danny Webber and Wes Brown. How's it going, guys? I'll start with you, Ben. Football's definitely back, isn't it? We've watched loads of games. We've watched United now. How's it been for you?
Absolutely fine. Sun's back out against Sully. A good result against Spurs and a really good second half performance. So we can build on that. And I'm reasonably happy.
Yeah, and you actually got out, didn't you? You went down to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. So fantastic experience for you.
Yeah, it was. And it's just a real shame that there weren't any fans allowed into the stadium because it is quite a sight to behold. It's pretty spectacular in there, and the noise that I'm sure it would have generated. And from the travelling Manchester United supporters as well, they've missed out on a real treat that they're going to have to wait till next season for. But yeah, it's a fabulous stadium, but very eerie when there's no fans in there.
Yeah, hopefully next season we'll have fans back anyway. Maisie, how have you been keeping? Got out on the golf course much?
Golf this afternoon, so yeah, a couple of times last week, 3 times last week, so all decent, mate.
That's a good opportunity. Good opportunity for you to get out on the course a bit at the moment.
Absolutely, glorious.
The game's going well?
Yeah, I'm quite happy with it. Always room for improvement, mate. Yeah.
Danny and Wes, you are both with us for the Spurs game. I mean, we'll chat more about the Spurs game in a minute. But for you, Danny, was it nice to get back out doing some work and watching United with us?
Yeah, it was nice. It was weird being in the environment that that's familiar to you with people that you work with, and all of a sudden, like the distancing kind of thing, that was weird. You can't just come up and say hello to people and whatever. And obviously working at a distance, but we worked around that, and it was good just to be in the mix and obviously see football again. And yeah, no complaints, mate. All good.
Yeah, Wes, it was good to be in the studio with you. It was good to be back, wasn't it?
It was nice, mate. It was nice. Like Dan said, a little bit different, but good just to be talking about United again and watching a game. So I'm sure, there's going to be many more over the next few weeks, mate.
Yeah, you're spot on there. Right, let's begin with the comments then from last week's show. Now, we've got some comments from YouTube we're going to run through, the first of which was left on the comment section in YouTube. And it's from Ryan, who says, seems fair. Oh, I'll better read the email first and put it into context, shall I? Right, so, Wes, you missed some of the show last week. So,
whoa.
Stuart,
I missed 22 minutes. I missed 22 minutes.
People have picked up on that, so the comments are relating to that, and we're going to talk about the result of that after the comments. But Ryan seems to be on your side. He says that seems fair enough to let him off. That crossing the Champions League final, boys. You can do what you want, basically. Setting up Ronnie's goal.
He's a good lad. He's a good lad.
2008. George Forrest has said, Wes Brown missed an online meeting. The legend is human after all. So, tell you what, Wes, you're getting a lot of love, a lot of support, despite missing those 22 minutes, as you say.
Yeah.
This from J. Billy Josh. And it's about group chat. Should we keep going during the resumption of the season? J. Billy Josh says, you can't stop these because they've helped me through my depression. So you've got to keep doing the MUTV group chat, boys, even though football's back. And we will keep doing them. They're just less regular than normal. But keep an eye on the schedule for them. Keep an eye on YouTube. This from Taufik Oldie. Thanks for keeping us entertained the last few months. It's been absolutely great listening to the lads and all of the great guests you had on. Zainab Jefarali. Apologies for the pronunciation if I've got your name a bit wrong there. But I'm so sad there's no more. Today there's no football. It means there should be a video. But there will be more group chats. Don't you worry about that. As we said, we will keep doing these just less frequently than when there was no football on at all. So let's talk about some kind of forfeit for Wes then. Well, Stuart's missed a bit of action as well. He's missed the day show.
Oh, mate.
So it'd be good for the viewers to maybe comment on what Wes and Stuart could do together, maybe. What do you reckon, boys?
Yeah,
I'll be honest. I said the other day that before Wes come online, I thought he should be let off because it was the time was changed, and it was Stu that pulled him into it and said, "I'll do something with Wes." Do you know what I mean? That was my fair hat.
And Maisie, you've obviously paid.
I've done punishment. Yeah, I had to chat Ben up.
You'll be in favour of him doing one.
Absolutely, yeah.
You missed it for golf, Maisie. Completely missed for golf. Completely different.
Whereas I can understand where all the miscommunication came in, and I am leaning towards, giving you just a yellow card and just, be a warning, be a warning. Well, that Gardner should definitely get one. Definitely.
Ben,
not here again. What's his excuse today? Can't be doing his hair because he ain't got any.
Well, next time you're on, you'll have to quiz Stu about that and find exactly why.
Yeah.
He's missing the show. But Ben, what do you think? What side of the fence are you sitting on? Letting Wes off with a yellow, or is it straight red?
No, I was at the time. The time was changed at the 11th hour, and I don't think that he can be attributed any blame for not being there.
Do you know what, Ben? It was the first time I went to bed pretty early. Switched my phone off. Perfect it was. And the next thing you're all on in the morning. Unbelievable.
Well, the next show is actually on Thursday, so if viewers want to leave their comments, then we can obviously go through the best of them, and maybe someone can come up with a good forfeit, or maybe they're going to let you off, Wes, because there's a lot of love for you already.
We'll see what happens, Sully.
That cross for Ronaldo in 2008 is definitely giving you some leeway, that is for sure. So
sure
anyway,
leave
leave your comments either in the comment section on YouTube, or you can email us, mutv@manunited.co.uk, and then we'll dish out the punishment should there be any on Thursday. Okay, back to the action then, and football being back was great for us all. Give us something to watch on the telly. Lots of things to talk about though. I mean, for example, were you watching it with the fake atmosphere or without? But Ben, like we said, you were actually there. What was it like seeing United again firsthand, being there live?
It's always an enjoyable experience, Sully, but obviously some of that was slightly taken away because you don't have the atmosphere there with you. But it wasn't an altogether new experience for me because I was in Austria, so I knew what it was going to be like, and obviously they were going to do things like the piped atmosphere in through the headsets, etc. That each of the broadcasters had the option to take or not. But it was just the way I was interested to see. They've been away for such a long time, 3.5 months or whatever it is, without playing football, which is normally a lot longer than you would have during a normal winter sort of summer shutdown. And how the lads had responded to all the training that they've been doing, and how they respond to the environment, even though it wasn't new to them either because they'd done it in Austria. And it was just brilliant to see football coming back, and we haven't heard any repercussions from the weekend, which is great. And that was, I think, what everybody wanted, so that we could safely move forward. And the second half performance, especially, was really, really encouraging. And I think anybody who watched it would say that United were very, very unlucky not to come away with the 3 points in the end. Maisie, how did you end up watching it?
I just watched it at home, mate. Yeah, I turned the atmosphere off because it just doesn't work well with me. I just rather have the commentary, and you can hear the players moaning and shouting and grilling each other. I like that because normal match days with the atmosphere, you don't get to hear that, so it's quite good listening to it.
Yeah, didn't you find it a little bit strange though? If you're watching regularly and there's fans there, you can hear the swell of the crowd when you're getting near goalmouth action. That noise is loud, and
so they've got to get it in sync then.
Yeah.
I half watched that last night, and Everton nearly scored. They hit the post, and Liverpool are still singing, and you're like, well, so I just turned it off.
Yeah.
But I thought the second half was really good. I thought when Ollie made the changes, I thought then we really, really looked really dangerous. And typical Jose, wander lot, tries to shut up shot, didn't work, and we should have we should have won really. You know, Martial had a fantastic chance. Bruno put him in. Just maybe a bit of rustiness or whatever he is, but you know, he should be scoring that goal. You know, too long on the ball.
Yeah.
But I thought it was promising. Poor goal to give away. Really poor. You know, bad defended by United, and you know, you'd expect David to keep that one out. But I thought overall second half was really, really impressive.
Yeah, David's coming for a bit of stick from that. We'll chat about that in a minute. But on the subject of fake atmosphere, Danny, I mean, we watched it. Obviously, we were all in our parts of the stadium, but then we watched it, us guys together in the Warwick, socially distant, of course, and we had the fake atmosphere on. Are you comfortable with that, or would you rather have it without?
To be honest, like I agree with Maisie. Like you come into key points in the game, and it's either monotone, it's the same tone along it. You know what I mean? It's like there's no excitement, there's no build up. As much as the commentator tries to do that, the crowd doesn't follow with it, so it's dead weird. So I'd prefer to actually, you're going to have it behind closed doors, just let it be real and let's hear what's going on. And I know some of the lads might not like that, but it'd be better viewing and more realistic, to be fair.
And Wes, what do you prefer? Other than the game we watched, the United game together, what have you been using when you're at home? Fake or none?
Well, I've watched a couple of games at my mate's house, and we've had it on, to be fair. And I just think, I don't know, it doesn't really matter. It would be nice to not have it on, but I think because we've been talking and everything, and it's like normal when it's on a little bit, because we're not necessarily watching the game, because it wasn't United we were watching anyway. Yeah. So you're just like having a chat, and at times you go through little spells where you're thinking it's real, maybe, because you're not watching it constantly. Yeah. But like, if you're watching it 100% like United, you probably want it off. You want it off. I want to hear what people are saying. You know what I mean? But yeah, the other day we had it on, and it was okay. Like I said, we weren't really concentrating on it. So you feel maybe it's like we said to each other at one point, I thought there was crowd then, you know, because you're not concentrating on the game and you sort of hearing this background music. But other than that, I'd probably have it off. I'd want to know what the lads are saying.
Yeah. Well, actually, that's a good point. If it's not United, when we're watching United, we're a lot more focused and concentrating on everything that's happened in the game. But if you are watching, say you're watching Villa v Chelsea, then maybe you're not as focused. So yeah, you would be having a chat with your mates, and then you kind of, when we did have crowds, relying on the energy of the crowd to pull you back to the screen, aren't you? Because you know there's going to be a chance or something might happen. So that is a little bit weird. We'll have to get used to it. But on the performance itself, Ben, like you said, second half was a lot better. When Pogba came on, he changed it. Were you surprised he didn't start Paul Pogba?
No, I wasn't surprised. I mean, I know a lot of people said that he should have done. I just always felt that Ole Gunnar was going to, you know, perhaps stick with the players that had served him so well during Paul's absence, and obviously with the unbeaten run that we're on, and that proved to be the case. But he was certainly the catalyst in the second half for United's ascension. There's no two ways about it. They were much the better team for, you know, vast periods of that second half. It was like 21 players in one half because of the way, you know, Jose Mourinho adopted his tactics once he'd gone a goal to the good. And lo and behold, it was the man himself who we've just been talking about who got us back in the game with that little bit of dazzling footwork on the touchline, which bemused Eric Dyer and forced him to bring him down for the penalty. I don't think there's any question. I know Jose Mourinho moaned about it, but it went to the VAR, even though I don't think it was necessary, unlike the second one. But it stood, and rightly so, and Bruno Fernandes put it away with aplomb. And I think at that point, then only did Spurs try and take the game to Manchester United, and then we gave away a few daft free kicks in dangerous areas. But I think Manchester United were good, easily good value for the point because of the first half performance. But certainly at the end of the game, you do get the feeling, how did they not take all three? There was some below par performances, Sully, don't get me wrong, and everybody that watched the game will obviously have identified with that. But I think that certainly the Pogba-Fernandes partnership that we've all been talking about for weeks and months and how it's going to be, I think that we can see that it's going to be the start of something extremely exciting with the other players that we've got in there.
Is there anybody who disagrees with Ben thinking that Pogba should have started, or are you all comfortable with the team selection?
Yeah, comfortable. Sorry, Revs. Go on, mate.
I think it was the right decision for the bigger picture. If he starts and it sends a message out that anyone can just walk back into the team. I did think he might have started, and there was an avenue for him to start purely based on the fact that we've gone 3 months without a game, and it almost could have been a shoo-in. But no, Ollie was strong, and that sends a message to everybody. So for me, he did the right thing. But then it's up to Paul to come on and deliver, and he did. He came on and said, right, okay, let me show you why I should be playing. And the whole team raised its level, and not just that. Mason, I thought he came on and made a positive contribution. Nearly got his goal with a bit of footwork. It looks like he's been working hard during the last couple of months. You know, he's put on a bit of muscle, and he looks like he's kicked on again, Mason.
So yeah, everyone thinks it was the right decision from Ollie. You think so too, Maisie? Yeah, Pogba coming on.
Yeah, I agree with Ben and Dan. We said before, I don't think any of us probably would have thought he'd have started. He relied on the players that have got him in the position now. So, but it did make a huge difference when he came on. You know what you're going to get from him. Some of the pass line, one to Marcus, was exceptional.
Yeah.
But yeah, Eric Dyer gave him twisted blood, got the penalty, and it wasn't a second penalty. But I thought we had chances where on another day they go in, you win the game quite comfortable. But I think overall it was a good performance, particularly second.
Yeah, and I asked you at the time, Wes, what would the greatest manager of all time, Sir Alex, have done in Ollie's position, and you said exactly what Ollie would have done: put Pogba on the bench, stuck with the players who performed so well before lockdown.
Yeah, and I did say that I thought Pogba might start, but I think Ollie did the right decision. You know, the players that have deserved to start that game started it, and it was the right thing to do. It's then up to them really to play well and stay in the team. But I think after, you know, Pogba did come on, I think everyone's seen the change in the game and what he brought to it. You know, his sort of movement, he was moving around a bit, he had a bit of freedom, ended up on the right wing, he can take men on, and I think that's what we need from him. And
the other talking points, we mentioned David earlier, got a lot of stick from your old teammate Roy Keane, Maisie. I mean, how do you view that mistake and his performance? Because obviously he did make that brilliant save off Son shortly after, but he was criticised quite a bit for the mistake for the Bergwijn goal.
Yeah, and probably deserved it. You know, it's straight at him. It's like a cricketer, isn't it? You know, one thing you do is get your body behind the ball. David didn't do that. Harry, in that position, should have done better. I mean, if anything, you just take a booking, don't you? You just hack him down, take one for the lads, take one for the team. But yeah, listen, Roy's there to give his views, and whether you like it or not, he'll continue to do that. And it's right that people speak their minds. You know, you don't want people saying, "Oh, you know, David this, David that." You just want them to speak their minds, and Roy does that. You know exactly where you stand. You know what they've been like. We've all been there with Keane in the dressing room at half time. We all know what would have happened in the dressing room. And when you play for Manchester United, you do tend to have a hell of a lot of the ball. We did have that in the first half, and you're relying on the goalkeeper to come in and, you know, whenever you're called. So sometimes you can go long periods without touching the ball. But I think David's got to do better than that. I really do.
And you mentioned Harry there. In defence of Harry, Wes, you were saying to us, it's difficult. I mean, Harry's a big guy. When he's in his stride, he was looking superb before the lockdown. But after 3 months of no football, you think it takes someone of Harry's frame longer to get back into his full stride than someone who's smaller, more agile, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I just think you could see a lot of rustiness there. Do you know what I mean? The way he was turning. I mean, like we said before, what has it been now? Over 3 months since we've last played football. That's longer than any sort of summer break you get.
Yeah.
I think Ben said it. And it's going to take time to get back into it. I mean, I've been injured many a times, and I can tell you, them first 3 or 4 games coming back, doesn't matter what you do, you are a bit rusty, you are a bit stiff, and you might do something different than you normally would do. But yeah, I mean, it was too easy. I think Harry knows. He tried to send him outside, and he was nowhere near him to be able to do that, really. So, it happens when you come back, and I'm sure he'll get it right next time. But things like this will happen, and we just have to adjust to it. But I mean, it was a good run from the lad. He looked very sharp. He's seen a gap which shouldn't have been there, really. Everyone else should have been tighter, but it was there, and he put it away.
Well, hopefully we'll be a bit sharper for our next game. Danny, big game for you. It's 2-year-old teams as we host Sheffield United. You'd love to have been working with us on that game with a full Old Trafford, no doubt. We all would. But your thoughts on that one then, as the Blades come to Manchester?
Yeah, I mean, look how well they've done in the first bit of the season. The fact that they're close to us on points and position shows what a good first season they've had. It's a great football club. There's a lot of humility about the place. Working football club, and they have a tight-knit group of lads. It's going to be a tough one because they've just been beaten 3-0 by Newcastle, and they always recover well. If you look at over the last 3 years in whatever division they're in, they always recover well if they've taken a defeat. So I think it's a case of winning the scrap, and earning the right to go and play if United are going to go and win the game. But it's a must-win for United, and I think the signs were positive. Based on what we saw the other day, if Pogba's in there and Fernandes and either Matic or Scott, whoever sits, I thought Matic was positive when he came on. It's going to be a game for men to stand up first and foremost, and it'll be a tough one. But yeah, looking forward to it. Yeah, definitely.
We've had a couple of extra days rest than them, Ben. We've got a bigger squad. So are all these things going to play a part, do you think?
I don't think they will just now. Mind you, obviously they're going to have one of their players missing on Wednesday. Is it Egan? Who was sent off, so he won't be available. I don't think it'll come into effect just at this moment in time, but certainly, Sully, with the fact that United have got a big squad and no injuries as well, I think that in time that will come to benefit them. But they know that they're going to be in for a tough game. As Danny just said, Sheffield United haven't had a beating like that this season, I don't think. In fact, their away record has been tremendous. So it just proves that they can't play in front of no fans. They need fans there in an away stadium to be able to perform. And let's hope that vein continues on Wednesday night, because I played under Chris Wilder for a short time, and I know how much his man management skills come into it by whipping people up. And he's not going to have the help of any sort of crowd to feed off of that. It's going to be a tough game, but apart from the Chelsea game yesterday, the results have gone for us, really, with Arsenal losing twice. And, all right, Wolves won as well. But it's Chelsea that we're looking at, and we can't really afford, after dropping 2 against Spurs and then winning, we can't really afford to drop any more points against Sheffield United.
Yeah, shame Villa couldn't hold on against Chelsea, wouldn't it? Would have been a great result for us. Just quickly then, before we wrap up, Pogba, does he start? Ben?
Yes, definitely.
Maisie?
100%.
Danny?
Yeah, for me, you get your opportunity when you're on the bench. You get a little bit to show something. He came on and did it. So, yeah, for me, definitely.
Where's full house? Pogba starts?
I'm not sure. Yeah, of course he does, yeah. 100% after that performance.
Yeah, he did run the game, didn't he, when he come on? And we know what a world-class player he is, and let's hope we can see a lot of that in this season as it concludes. Right, that's it from us for now. You guys will be back on Thursday for the next MUTV group chat. Of course, we're building up to the game against Sheffield United on MUTV, so make sure you join us for all of that. But lads, pleasure seeing you this morning. Early start for us today. But Thursday we'll be back and we'll find out what forfeit, if there is any, for Wes Brown and Stuart Gardner.
Yeah. Stu. Stop getting involved. Hey, Sully, you stop getting involved anyway.
I'm going to get on the comment section and say I think you two should sing a duet together.
It's been said.
Right, brilliant, guys. Enjoy your days. Catch you later.
See you later, boys. See you in a bit.
In a bit.
Cheers, Troops.
Cheers, boys.